All right, this is our last lesson of our series, the speaking series. This is our last lesson in our speaking series, and in this lesson, we're going to look at part 3, and we're going to work with linking words. Very important that you use linking words. We've emphasized enough on this linking words that helps you to produce complex sentences, and your speech will be fluent. You will get marks for lexical resource, you will get marks for coherence, and you will also get marks for fluency. You will also get marks for grammar. So let's look at it again last time in this last lesson of speaking series. Look at using linking words, linking devices, right? The activities that we're going to look at are matching questions and answers, identifying the use of linking devices, and we're going to do part 3 practice. All right, so first what we're going to do here is we're going to do a matching activity, read and match part 3 questions with the test taker's responses. All right, so you've got 4 questions and you've got 4 responses. All right, so I want you to match the response with the question. Okay, pause the video here, do this exercise on your own, and when you come back, we're going to review the answers. All right, let's look at the answers. So number 1 is, in what ways have people's food shopping habits changed over the last decade? It's talking about food shopping habits, right? Changed over the last decade. The response is C. Well, in my opinion, the most obvious change in many countries is that it is much easier nowadays to order food online than it was, say, 10 years ago. And 10 years represents a decade, right? As a result, people more and more order either cooked meals or the ingredients for cooking at home rather than going to the shops. Also, I think younger people generally prefer to spend their time socializing rather than preparing food. So delivered ready meals are the answer. Okay, let's look at question number 2. How have these changes in food shopping habits affected the shops themselves? The answer is D. I'd say that overall, physical shops have been affected quite badly. For example, many main street food shops, such as butchers and greengrocers, have had to close down because of the lack of customers. In the past, these shops would have had regular customers, but now many of them are empty. Let's look at question number 3. Do you think that people's eating habits have changed recently? The answer is B. Well, I suppose there's the change I've mentioned to order delivery of ready meals, but I also think there has been a shift to healthier eating too, and in people's wish to eat locally sourced and ethically produced food. Obviously, this isn't a change everybody has made, but I do believe that there is more emphasis among some people on good food rather than just quick food. And number 4, and lastly, to what extent will these changes continue in the future? A, the correct answer is A. Well, that's really difficult to say. If the present trend continues, if the present, and so it's using a conditional here, it could result in lower prices, and that might encourage more people to eat that way. Another reason is that many people are worried about environment, and I think that this also might affect the choices they make about the food they buy, right? So this is a very good response, by the way, and you can see in bold, there are so many linking words. These are the linking words that you should be using, and how do we use them? We will review. We are going to discuss that now. All right, so in this activity, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the linking devices, right? So these are all linking devices in bold, you can see. We use linking devices for different purposes, okay? We not just for giving reasons, for example, or contrasting, we have other things as well. So things like speculating, we have giving reasons, we have hedging, buying time to think, right? This is called hedging. Giving results, expressing opinions, referring to time, giving examples, comparing and contrasting, or generalizing, okay? So I want you to look at these bold ones, all right, bold words, Put the linking devices in bold from the responses in worksheet 1 into the correct column describing their use, okay? So do this activity on your own. I want to test your understanding of these. If you already understand them, that's really, really great, and you should be using them. And when you come back, we're going to review them, and we're going to see which of these linking devices are used for what purpose. All right, let's look at the answers here. So for speculating, we use if. It could, so if conditionals are used for speculating, right? If this happened, then that would happen. If this happens, that could happen. So you should always remember that with if, we use the modal, either would, could, might, all of these things, right? Depending on their possibility, right? It's possible that you also use that for speculation. You're just speculating. You're just predicting what can happen in the future. Yeah, you don't really know, right? It's unlikely, or it's likely that, or in all probability, all of these phrases that you can use in your spoken response for speculating. Let's look at giving reasons now. For giving reasons, another reason is you can literally say the word reason, or you could use because of, or because, or due to, or owing to, or so that. These are all used for because. Talking about hedging time. So in hedging time, when you're buying time to think, you could say, well, that's really difficult to say. I haven't really thought about that before, right? Let me think. This is also another one that you can use. Don't use fillers. I don't recommend you to use as. Yeah, try to omit your fillers. Try to keep them limited. I also use fillers sometimes, and that's fine, but it shouldn't be noticeable and shouldn't be after every sentence. Try to just breathe when you are thinking that is coming or is coming. Just try to take a deep breath, and let's just move on to the next sentence, okay? But not always you will be able to do it. It takes a lot of practice. But use these hedging phrases for you to be able to and I just used use these hedging phrases to buy some time. Okay, let's move on to giving results. Now, in terms of giving results, as a result, you can use for giving results. So consequently, these are all used for giving results. Expressing opinions, you can use I think, I suppose, I do believe, in my opinion. All of these things you can use for expressing opinions. Let's talk about referring. And also for hedging time, you can also use that's an interesting question, or that's an interesting point, right? That's also what you can use. Now, referring to time, you can use nowadays, ago, in the past, now. You're really referring to the time. Is it talking about the past? Is it talking about the future? Is it talking about now? Giving examples, for example, such as, for instance, you can use all of these phrases for giving examples. Talking about comparing and contrasting, healthier. So obviously you will use the contrast, comparing, you would use the comparatives, which is healthier, right? However, but, whereas, all of these are used for contrasting, although, even though. All right. Now, generalizing, for generalizing, you can say generally, overall, in many cases, in general. All of these linking devices you can use for generalizing. Okay, sounds good. Let's keep moving. All right, in this activity, what I want you to do is think about 4 questions about food with your own ideas. Take turns and ask the 4 questions about food with your own ideas. Choose one of the topics below and ask your partner. Listen carefully to their responses. Did they use linking words? Now answer these questions. Let's consider first of all, how people's values have changed. What kind of things give status to people in your country? Have things changed? Let's talk about the role of advertising. Okay, so let's do the speaking practice now. So in this one, obviously this is an online course, so you'll be doing it on your own. So I want you to really think about 4 questions about food. There are 4 things that are being talked about here. Think that you are in the speaking test, and these are the questions that are being asked to you. How are you going to respond? And try to use the linking words, all right? Let's say the examiner says to you, let's consider first of all how people's values have changed. What kind of things give status to people in your country? Have things changed since your parents' time? Let's talk about the role of advertising. Do you think advertising influences what people buy? Do you think the form of advertising has changed over recent years? Let's talk about celebrations more generally. Why do you think celebrations are important in society? Do you think celebrations are experienced differently by the different generations? Let's talk about international events. Do you think international events help to promote cooperation and collaboration between countries? Do you think we will see changes in future to international events? And if so, what sort of changes might we see? This is your homework. Do this activity on your own. I wish you all the best. Wrap it up. This is the last thing I want you to think of when you have thought about your responses. Did I give reasons and examples? You should be giving reasons and examples, all right? Did I make comparisons and contrasts? Did I speculate? Did I use the appropriate linking devices? These are the things that you should use in your speaking test. That's all I had for this series. All right, let's discuss a few things. This was the speaking series end here. That's very important for you to use the linking devices, to use the correct grammar, to use the correct vocabulary. I want you to do a lot of practice before going into the exam, especially part 3 is very, very challenging. So I want you to do a lot of practice. Maybe try to do, and all of the prompts and questions that I shared with you, try to come up with the responses, write them down or record yourself and see, maybe transcribe yourself and see what are the mistakes you're making. And before you go into the real actual exam, you will have to do a lot of practice before you appear in the exam. I wish you all the best and I'll see you in the writing section. Thank you for watching. Bye.